there is nothing that sells to me, if I'm a Giant fan, which I'm not, that I want Darren Waller back. I think he's a great person. I think he's gone through so many obstacles in his career, and he's come out on top. So I love that about him. I love that he's trying to help people with their drug addictions and all that other stuff, and what he was doing over there in Vegas and in Oakland. I mean, the guy is a great person, great at heart. I could only wish that everybody could be like a guy like Darren Waller, who's trying to help the world. The problem with Darren Waller is he really hasn't had a good season in about 2 years. And everybody says, well, it wasn't that bad. 52 catches, 552 yards, and 1 touchdown. For a guy that's making $14-15 million, a tight end, I mean, go look at Travis Kelce. Just got a new contract. He's making what? $16.5 million a year. Travis Kelce is light years better than Darren Waller. It's not even close. Okay. And he actually stays on the field and plays hurt. Darren Waller, a toenail could pop off his foot and he's out for 3 weeks. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Now, Darren Waller is an option if the Giants want to bring him back. The Giants every single year draft a tight end. Every single year. Go look at their draft in the last 4 years. 3 out of the 4 years they've drafted a tight end. 3 out of 4 years they've drafted a tight end. Now, none of these guys have worked. Now, I like the kid that they had that's been playing well. Who's
Bellinger.
Bellinger. I actually like Bellinger. But Bellinger got hurt the year before, a bad injury, and that's why they brought Darren Waller in, because they weren't sure when Bellinger was going to come back. And now he's back, and he might not be the same player because I think it was a knee injury. So they go after Theo Johnson, and I don't know how good Theo Johnson is. Some people like him. Some people thought he fell in the draft. You never know with tight ends, and it takes 3 to 4 years for these guys to develop. And that was the whole Brock Bowers thing. I did not want the Jets to bring in Brock Bowers. Oh, Brock Bowers would have been that would have been a slam dunk. No, it wouldn't have. I understand he's a talent. I understand he's a weapon, but you can never have enough offensive linemen. You can never have enough depth in certain areas of the offensive side of the ball. And the Jets have always had pretty good defense, no matter who their coach is. The Giants are a team right now that are trying to find weapons to help Daniel Jones. And how could you suggest to think Daniel Jones isn't a good quarterback when he's never had a weapon? He has had nobody. He didn't have Odell Beckham. That was Eli Manning's guy, okay? Or Geno Smith's guy. They never had Odell Beckham. They now bring in a guy like Malik Nabers. I like Malik Nabers. I think he's going to be a star in this league. But he's one weapon. Teams are going to figure that out. You bring in a guy, Theo Johnson. You have to see what you have with the quarterback. And that's maybe why the Giants decided not to draft a quarterback in any of the rounds. Because in the long run, they have to see what Daniel Jones is in his final year. They're riding and dying with him. And if they fail, guess what? They're going to be a top draft pick next year. And there's only 2 quarterbacks in there. And that kid, what is it, Ewers? Ewers from Texas. He's the guy that everybody keeps saying is the best quarterback in the class. So I don't know if he's a first-round draft pick. And by the way, next year's draft is going to be heavily defensive side of the ball. That's what everybody's saying. It's heavily going to be defensive side of the ball. So this was an offensive line draft. Look how many offensive linemen were drafted in the first round and the second round. So this was the draft to draft an offensive lineman. I think Darren Waller is a good guy. I think the Giants need to start to look younger as they are. And I'm wondering, where do they go? Why don't they reach out to the Bengals and try to get Tyler Boyd? I mean, he is a free agent. They're probably going to drop him. I've heard the Jets. I've heard Pittsburgh. Yeah. I've heard a lot of different teams interested. Why aren't the Giants interested in Tyler Boyd?
Saints could also cut Michael Thomas June 1st, too. Maybe that's another thing to look at.
Michael Thomas is another one. You cannot go into the season with just Malik Nabers. You're putting him in harm's way. They don't have anything. I don't want to hear Darius Slayton. No. He's not the guy. He's not the number 2. He could maybe be a number 3. Sure. I think the Giants are making a big mistake going into the season with one guy, and you're not helping the development of Malik Nabers, because now teams are going to say, well, if Malik has a good game or 2 good games, they're going to say, you know what, we'll double team the rookie and we'll make everybody else beat me.